and welcome to a video I've been so excited to film. I've been thinking about this video for months. I am going to be jumping back into writing. So for a long time, I was an elementary school teacher, and over the past couple years, I have gone back to school. I'm changing careers, and I'm almost done. I'm on my very last class. I'm on my very last project of that class, and I'm so close to graduation, and I'm so ready to be done with school. So, while I was in school, I had to put my writing on the wayside. Before, when I was teaching, I would write in the summers, I would write in the evenings, on the weekends, and my husband and I decided that I would just kind of put it aside and put all my effort into changing careers, and we did that. But that means it's been 2 years since I've actually done much creative writing. My big career goal is that I want to be a published author. I don't know if I'm going to go the traditionally published route or the self-published route, but I want to be a writer. My job that I'm getting is not going to be writing, but I will write on the time when I'm not working, and I'm hopefully going into a position where I'm going to get paid enough that maybe eventually I could move down to part-time, or maybe have some more flexibility in my hours, as well as potentially being able to work from home instead of having like a big long commute, because before I was like driving a half hour to an hour to work, depending on traffic. So I'm today going to be picking up some writing. I am really excited. I'm also a little bit nervous because when I had been doing writing before, one of the things that I've been focusing on was learning how to finish things. I think that's one of the things that most writers need to learn when they're first starting out, is just start something and write it to completion, even though it's probably going to be bad, and most of my stuff has been bad, but that's okay because it's finished. And then once you have a finished something, you can work on it. So there's a part of me that feels like I've been out of practice for so long that I've forgotten all the skills that I've learned, and I'm going to be so out of the habit that it's going to be like starting over. But I know that's not true. But I wanted to start off kind of easy. I do have some things that I've been, taking notes on throughout the couple of years that I want to work on. I have a novel that I want to outline and try to write. It was a short story, but I think it could be something more. And I just need to pick something that's going to be very gentle and easy for me to start with. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be working on filling out some readathon lore. So I want to run my own readathon. That's one of my goals with this channel, is to start a readathon, and it's going to be inspired by an idea I had ages ago for a board game, because I like creating things, and I just always have these little ideas about different video games and board games and books and short stories and stuff like that. So this was a board game idea, and I was like, that would be really fun to make it into a readathon, because I'm not planning right now to make any board games. So I was like, well, that would be amazing. So I've been thinking about it, and I've done some, every once in a while I've picked up my phone and like jotted down some notes of this would be really cool, but it's going to be a semi-story-based readathon. I'm not really sure how much of a story there's going to be, because I want it to be something that people can kind of like jump in and out of. If they don't want to participate in one round, they don't have to, and they won't be like missing out, because I don't want it to be overwhelming. But it's going to be like a little bit of a longer readathon, because there's going to be like a preparation phase where you're like reading books based on different prompts to like gather supplies, and then there's going to be the challenge phase, which is like seeing if your supplies were enough to like get you through the ordeal. That's like the basic premise. So what I want to do today is I want to just kind of brainstorm and write down some ideas, get some ideas out of my head and onto the computer about what this readathon is going to be, how it's going to work, maybe some of the characters that are going to be involved, how they're going to be involved, what this big like challenge will be. And so I think it'll just be a very gentle way to start working on my writing mind again and kind of getting back into that process. So I'm going to do that for maybe like 20-25 minutes, give myself a little writing sprint, and then I'll come back and tell you how it went. Oh my gosh, well, I think that was a success because I was going to sit down and do this for 20 minutes and then check in, and I'm pretty sure it's been at least 40, if not longer. So I would say that was successful. It feels amazing to be kind of working that creative side of my brain again. Man, I'm just so excited for this readathon and what it's going to shape up to be. If you're excited about it, don't get too excited because I'm pretty sure at the earliest it would be running in February 2026. I don't think I would be ready to do anything before then. I'm pretty sure it is going to be a February readathon because I think that's a month where I haven't seen as many readathons running. I'm really excited. I had some really creative things that I had written in here like ages ago that I forgot about, and when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a fun idea. And so I was like bouncing ideas off of that one. I've been creating like the characters because there is going to be a little like village and you're going to have to like talk to different characters to do things. So I've been sort of creating who the characters are, getting their names, a little tidbit about them. There's going to be like a library you can visit. There's going to be a little tavern that everyone gathers in. So it's just going to be really fun, and I'm really excited about this little tiny world I'm creating. I got the main story kind of settled, but I need to figure out like some various pieces and where they go. But yeah, I was excited to be able to like give myself the time to like actually properly work on this and not be like jotting down a few notes before bed or something like that. So this is definitely a success. I will probably be working on this more, but I do actually want to get into some proper writing in the future. So I will probably be adding on to this vlog some of that. And then it's like January 8th right now, but I do want to make some writing goals because I think goals just help me stay on track a little bit. And I'd like to make a few achievable writing goals for 2025 and just kind of get myself in that headspace for prioritizing writing and giving myself something to strive towards. That way I have like a purpose for my writing. So that's it for me for a little bit. I'll check in with you next time I sit down to write and tell you about how it goes. Hello and welcome to day 2 of getting back into writing. Today is actually 2 days since the last time I posted. Yesterday was just not a great day. I had some other stuff going on. I didn't sleep well. Yesterday was just not the best day for me, and so I took the day off writing, and I'm excited to get back into it today. I'm going to do 2 15-minute sprints, and then it will be time for lunch. So the first one is going to be focused on writing for the readathon and working on that for a little bit longer, but as I kind of tighten things up, there's less and less to write. So then after that, I'm going to switch to 15 minutes of just brainstorming short story ideas, because I think that's one of the ways I would like to show up for writing this year is working on writing some short stories. It helps me finish things. It helps me just hone my craft in like writing these, short things that are complete stories, and then I can take that skill of learning how to like craft really like focused ideas, and then I can work on expanding ideas later when I'm wanting to write like a novel. So I think that's going to be one of my focuses for this year. So I thought I would just do we're puppy sitting. and she's very needy sometimes. She heard me talking and decided I was talking to her. Yeah. So I am planning to focus on just brainstorming some ideas that I might have for short stories and just kind of doing like just write everything that comes down to mind that seems interesting for short stories. Okay, 2 sprints and then I will check in with you. All right, so that was 2 very successful sprints. I started with the readathon writing, and where I had left off yesterday was that I needed to figure out who was going to give what information. One of the features of the readathon is that you have to kind of talk to different people in the town to like figure out what's going on so that you know what you need to take with you. And so I needed to figure out, well, what kind of information would it make sense for each character to give so that when you go talk with them, they're going to be giving you information. And not all of it is going to be like, you need to do this. It'll be like, I think it might be this happening or this happening. And then you have to like combine that information with other people's information to figure out what exactly is going on and what you need. So I wrote that all out, and I have, what character is going to tell you what. I will need to in the future like actually write it in like the character's dialect so it feels like you're actually talking to them and they're giving it to you, not me saying like, they say this. This is what you need. Like I want it to feel like a character that you're talking to, like a person. So we'll need to like rewrite that kind of stuff, but that doesn't need to be done now. So that was what I spent the first sprint on. I didn't get much further than that. And then I switched over to doing some brainstorming for short stories. And the way I do this is I just write whatever comes to mind. One of the first things that came to mind was circus. I didn't have anything else that came to mind. But the idea is just write it, let it go. Write it, let it go. It doesn't matter if it's like good or informative or 1 word or 25 words. Just write it and then let it go, move on to something else. And then, I finally like hit on something that it was like, oh, that's good. And I was going to go on to something else. And then it was like, wait, but what if this happened? And then I was like, okay, I'll go on to something else. Wait, but what if this happened? So I actually ended up with like a solid paragraph outline of a short story. So I think that might be a contender for one that I might want to write. I think it's a small enough story that I could get it done in the amount of words that a short story usually is. And I also think it's really interesting. It's something I haven't read before and haven't read like a ton about. So I was really excited about that. And then I kind of continued on, wrote some other ideas. Nothing else is like super popping out as being really intriguing, but overall that was really successful. It feels so good to be back writing. It's been so long and it's so hard, and I probably won't be able to do it tomorrow because I just passed a task for my class. So I need to start working on the next one, which is the final task, and I'm so ready to be done and graduated. It's been just over 2 years of working on this degree, and so I'm so excited to be done with school. So I'll probably need to do that for the next couple of days, so it'll be a little bit before I get back to writing, but I'm really excited about that short story idea, and maybe next time in one of my sprints I will focus on outlining it and kind of beefing it up and seeing what substance is there for the actual story. Hello, here is a little writing update for you. I have finished my final class, meaning I am done, I'm graduating, I'm now on the job hunt, and so today I took some time off just to do a little bit of like I don't have to do any revisions on my project, and I was doing some work on the readathon. I had some really interesting ideas because I had never thought, like, what am I going to do during the readathon? I want my reading to, like, have an effect on the game. And so I was kind of brainstorming, like, how do I want to do it? Because I'm setting up the storyline, I can't really participate in like trying to get the right supplies and see if I can beat the challenge and stuff. I needed to figure out what exactly I was going to do, which I'm really excited. I think I found some fun ways where every time I read, I have to like spin a wheel, and it's going to give me these like different things that will happen. Some of them will like affect the game. People who are participating can like win things to like add to their supplies, things like that. So I was really excited about that idea. And I've been brainstorming some prompts because I need like a good stack of prompts for one section, because people are going to like pick and choose prompts for that section. So yeah, just lots of little bits here and there. And I talked with my sister a couple days ago, and she's an artist. She's an awesome artist. I'll link her Instagram in the description so that you can check out her work. But she agreed to do some art for the readathon. So we don't know yet exactly what we'll be doing for the art, but we know that we want her to make some art in some capacity. So I don't know if it'll be like character art, or maybe like the little like structures that you go to, or maybe just like little bits of art. And I'm sure she would be very lovely and willing to like add on to it year after year. But I just think that'll be so fun, like having some custom art to just make it even more special. So that was really exciting. And some other to-dos that I need to start thinking about is I will need to probably set up I need to finalize the name, because I want to set up like a special Google Drive, email, everything that's like separate for the readathon. That way people can go in on the challenge day and they can like, you'll have to use the folders to like travel through the different prompts and go visit people and see what information they have. So I'm going to need like a whole folder system set up for it, which I'm excited about, but it's going to take a long time. So starting to get the structure up now, I think would be good. And then some other to-dos are, like I said before, I need to change like what the characters are actually saying. I need to like figure out a voice for them. So how are they going to talk? Are they going to be like a grumpy old man who talks in short sentences? Are they like a nerdy know-it-all who's going to be like shoving information down your throat? Like I need to figure out kind of characters for each of them, characteristics, and I'll do a little description of them, like both physically and a little bit about them, so that you can kind of, when you get introduced to them, you can get a feel for what they're like. And then I can start like plugging those things into the different folders in the Google Drive. So lots to do, but considering we still have like a year to go, like it's good. But it's good because I don't want to be like rushing in like December trying to like throw this together. That's not going to work. So having it done in February of this year just means I could like keep adding on to it, making things better, or I could start working on the next year or the next round, because if every round is going to be a story, that's going to take a lot of time. So I'm definitely going to want to like kind of write ahead. That way I'm not like scrambling ever. So I plan to do that. And then tomorrow my goal is to get a full outline of the short story that I want to do. My sister and I are going to do some little writing sprints together. She and I usually hang out on Mondays. This week she's going to work on some art for whatever art she's doing. It's not for the readathon. And I'm going to work on that short story idea that I kind of latched onto. So I'm going to try to write a full outline of it tomorrow, which is Thursday, so that by Monday I can maybe start drafting, which will be exciting. I don't know why I feel so nervous about it. It's been so long since I've done drafting that I almost feel like, what if I can't do it? But the readathon stuff has been fun, and I feel like the creativity is flowing. And so I'll check back in with you tomorrow after I do some outlining, and we'll see where I get to and where I'll be going next. my pajamas a little bit later, and I just wanted to wrap up this back to writing vlog. So excuse the different appearance from the previous clip. I was writing earlier this afternoon. I am going to be writing with my sister on Monday, like I said, so I wanted to outline my story, and then because the blank page was scaring me even after I outlined it, I was getting stressed about writing that first sentence. Is always the most intimidating part. So I just decided to start writing, and I have no idea what I want the voice of this character to be. I always tend to write third person. I can't think of the proper term, but third person, but where you can hear their minds. Maybe omniscient, but we're staying close to our main character. It's like a third person, close perspective of this main character. And so I have no idea what I want her voice and what I want the writing to sound like. I feel like that's something that is kind of hard to think about beforehand. I just have to start writing and it'll kind of come to me. I think it's going to be a little bit on the darker side of a story, so a little bit melancholy, but then have that hopeful punch at the end, and because that's going to kind of mark our character story arc through the story. And I'm really working on keeping this story small. So one of my biggest issues that I've had with writing short stories in the past is that they end up being 50,000 words, which no magazine wants to publish a short story that is 50,000 words because it's not all that short. It's more like novelette length, if not a novella length at that point. So it doesn't really work for sending out to magazines. So my goal for this story is to keep it short. So I'm really trying to think of how to convey this whole story, because there is quite a big backstory, but I think I need to not write out the whole backstory. I need to figure out how to convey the backstory quickly so that the actual story that I'm writing can happen. We just need that context for this to happen. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So I just wrote a couple paragraphs, and it was hard kind of sitting down and not knowing what to write. I've been working on, before I had paused my writing and had gone back to school, I'd been working on editing. So it's been a while, I think 2.5 years since I've actually drafted much. So that was a little nerve-wracking, kind of starting it. It's always so hard when I'm I don't know what this story is going to sound like. What's the writing style? Am I short and snappy? Am I lyrical? What am I doing? And so that was really hard, but getting those couple paragraphs on the page, I think, is going to help for Monday when I start writing, and I can go from there. I can erase all of it if I hate it. I can change it. I can tweak it later. I can change the tense. Anything can be changed, which is the nice thing about writing. A first draft is just a first draft. So I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling a little apprehensive about how it's going to go. I'm feeling a little nervous about wanting it to come out of my head the way it is in my head. It's such a good story, and I'm do I have the ability to actually write it the way I want it to come out? And I don't know, but we'll see. We'll find out. And I'm sure either way, it's always a good experience. Creativity in itself is a reward, even if it doesn't really amount to anything. Just the act of being creative is such a beautiful thing. I want to say thank you for watching if you have stuck around this long, and I hope if you are interested in more writing content, you will consider subscribing. I'm going to try to do writing vlogs twice a month. I think it's a little harder to, make videos very quickly for it, and I don't want to overwhelm myself between the bookish and the writing videos. So I'm going to try to do 2 writing vlogs or writing videos a month, and then the 4 bookish videos throughout the month like I have been doing. I post on Thursdays for book videos, and I'm planning to do Mondays, I think, for my writing videos. And I'd love for you to say hello in the comments. I'd love to chat with you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.